Namaskaram, everybody. We're recording already. Asman Gurubhyo Namaha, Asman Parama Gurubhyo Namaha, Asman Sarva Gurubhyo Namaha, Shri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Nrsimha Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Hayavadana Parabrahmane Namaha, Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. I don't know whether it is convenient to all of you. Only few people are attending live classes since last class. Maybe does it bother you that I have changed the way we deal with it? Alternate weekends, we're picking up, two separate subjects. So Gita on one weekend and Kena Upaniṣad on the other weekend. We alternate this. So both days we focus on one subject. Is this a problem to you people?
This is fine.
This is fine.
It is fine.
Okay. I just want to make sure. See, honestly, to me, it is a very big advantage to stay focused on one topic during the entire weekend. That will make my thinking and preparation much more easier, actually. That's the whole thing. Okay, we will start lecture 27 right away. I am going to share. I guess you can hear me well?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I think this is the one. Let me share this and see if it works. Yeah, that is the one. And then slideshow. So you can see my screen and hear me well, right? Okay,
yes.
Perfect. Lecture 27. I'm going to, yeah. See, we already started looking at Kena Upaniṣad. Initially, before taking Ramanuja.org in depth, I wanted to, understand and also share with you the viewpoints of Sampath Iyengar, my grandfather. There is a particular reason for it. He has what he brings to the table, according to me, as far as I know today, right, is he connects the Upanishads, Yoga Śāstras, from taking taking information from the Bhagavad Gita, Yoga Sutras, Vishnu Purana, and all, right? That is the one unique information he brings in. Why is it important? Many of the Western scholars have openly said that the views of the rishis are uncoordinated, unrelated, divine realizations of each different rishis. So the Upanishads themselves probably don't give you a coherent thought. It's just like individuals finding different things and realizing different things and just expressing their realizations in separate Upanishads, and so there is nothing connecting and combining them. There is no single thought, or there is no connectivity among so many realizations of rishis. That's generally the feeling of many of the Western scholars. And my grandfather obviously does not believe in it, and he says that there is a very firm connection. This connection is beyond just studying the bhashyas of different commentaries. Different commentators, if you just study them, because they focus on the particular shloka they're talking about, maybe here and there they give overview. Obviously, I don't know if Sampath Iyengar, my grandfather, has come out with anything fundamentally, uniquely original, other than the fact that he studied and thought about it a lot, and he has borrowed from several acharyas in the past. And let's see what he really has added to this. What can his views help us? How can it help us? Let's see. So one other thing he emphasizes is these Upanishads are connected. For example, there is a sequence, Isha, Kena, Kata, Mundaka, Mandukya, and all. These are connected in a particular sequence. It starts with Isha, develops the topic further in Kena. So there is a strong connectivity between Isha and Kena. That we will see, and probably, I don't know whether that was very well established in the other commentaries. And he gives some clarity for the fundamental concept, which I found somewhat useful so far. Let's see. And he has some original thinking, unseen in standard translations. Let's see if that is true also. Okay, this is general information, nothing very particular. Where does Kena Upaniṣad really belong to? What part of the Vedas? It is in the Jaimini Upanishad Brahmana, which is also known as Talavakara Brahmana. In fact, Madhvacharya uses the term Talavakara Brahmana often, I think. And the Jaimini Upanishad Brahmana or the Talavakara Brahmana basically consists of 4 chapters, adhyayas. And Jaimini Brahmana, first of all, belongs to the Samaveda. So out of the 4th chapter, the 4th adhyaya.
Is that word Talavakara refers to the person, or what is the meaning of that?
I don't know. Really, honestly, I don't know. I have to look into Madhva or something to check that. Not sure at this point.
Okay.
So it is just known as Talavakara Brahmana. And then, so the 4th chapter of that has Kena Upaniṣads. So the 4th chapter actually has 12 chapters inside it. The 4th adhyaya has 12 sections. Let's put it this way. The word chapter should not be used too many times here. So it has 12 sections. The 4th adhyaya of Talavakara Brahmana or Jaimini Upanishad Brahmana has 12 chapters. Out of the 12, the 10th one contains the Kena Upaniṣad. And Kena Upaniṣad itself has got 4 sections, which are known as 4 khandas. Just to locate ourselves, just a GPS reference to what we're talking about. And according to my grandfather, this is the second Upanishad to be studied as suggested by Vedavyasa himself. I don't know where he suggested it. And in the Kena Upaniṣad, very clearly, 2 aspects are there, right? They're pretty much in somewhat religious. One aspect is religious. That is, it has obedience and discipline. That is, obedience to religious duties prescribed in the Brahmana portion of the Veda, and discipline of yoga known as Upāsanā in 3 stages. Oh, this has to be understood. So in Kena itself, there are 2 aspects, Upāsanā and the Karma Kanda aspects, which are religious duties, which are explained. So in the Brahmana portion, the religious duties are explained, where there are hymns, prayers to the different deities. In fact, Prāṇa is considered very important, and there are hymns and prayers to Prāṇa. And that was actually mentioned even in the Shankarabhashya also. This one, I think I remember clearly Shankaracharya mentions this in his Bhashya. So let's come to the connectivity here. The first Upanishad is Īśāvāsya, which forms the 40th chapter of the Vajrasaneya Samhita. And Īśāvāsya starts with a very powerful, emphatic statement. Īśāvāsyam idam sarvam yatkinti jagatyam jagate. He says, before you know anything, first accept that there is an Ishvara, there is a controller, a single controller, single pervader, single power behind everything in this universe. That is the first thing Īśāvāsya makes it very clear. So Isha, he permeates and pervades. The word permeation, I didn't understand initially. Permeation means in Sanskrit anupravesha, entering into everything. Right? Permeation means inside and outside is everywhere. That is not a vyapti, or I don't know the exact word, pervading. Right? So, and other things my grandfather mentions here is, look, there are statements like Mahadeva, Ishana and all, they are not proper nouns. They have to be understood in a different context. They explain the divinity in different ways. That is the way one should understand. And another thing is Īśāvāsya talks about Vasya, which is which basically has two different verb roots, achadane and upaveshane. Both are permeation and pervasion. Shankaracharya uses more of the meaning of vasa achadane, that is covering up. That is the main view in which Shankaracharya uses. Here, the Vedanta Deshika's, Vedanta Deshika's view on the Īśāvāsya Upanishad clearly says it's both. It's entering into, controlling from within, as well as outside and inside, completely pervading. See, at the end of the first Upanishad, what does the student think? Well, God is also a benevolent administrator of the entire universe. And God is not easily accessible. And how can this Ishvara, Isha, be accessible to people? That is the question he has, the student, after studying understanding the first Upanishad. Well, why would he get that idea? If you look at the last few verses, there is a prayer. Vayuranilam amritam bhasmantam shariram om kratosmara 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 kratosmara. Oh, Vayu anilam amritam. So look at this jiva, ourselves. It is constantly moving like wind. What is constantly moving? We go from state to state. Our experiences keep on changing. Every day we wake up, we are in a different experience. And we don't even have this common body. The body doesn't stay long. We give up this body and we have to move to some other body. Bhasmantam shariram, the body ends in just being cremated. Anilam, it doesn't have a single location, single home. I don't have a home. Om kritosmara kritosmara. Oh Lord, remember me what I have done. Remember the nice things I have done in the past. Help me. So the thing is, there is an obvious prayer of I'm in trouble, help me. And in the end, it says Agnenaya Supatharaye Asman, take me through the right path. I don't know the right path. So there is a prayer. That means it's not easy. If God was accessible everywhere and easy to please, this prayer won't be necessary. And then further, in the Upanishad of Īśāvāsya Upanishad, very beginning, it says pervasion and it gives the knowledge of Ishvara. At the same time, it immediately says everything belongs to Ishvara, not you. Everything is owned by him. It is his property. Till you die, keep on doing suitable actions. That's very clear in the second verse of the Īśāvāsya Upanishad. Īśāvāsya vidam sarvam yatkincha jagatyam jagatu tena tyaktena bunjitaha ma ghridaha kasya siddhanam kurvanneveha karmani jiji vishete shatakam samaha. So the thing is, the very second verse is kurvanneveha karmani jiji vishet shatakam samaha. You need to do the actions prescribed in the Shastras, in the Vedas. So there are two methods there, Vidya and Karma. Vidya is Jnana or Upāsanā or meditation. Karma is the discipline of actions, dedicated actions given in the Vedas. So that's clear. So what is the view here being given to you? This that is the Sampatanga is trying to say that you need to keep some things in mind. Whenever you understand a Upanishad, keep the background in mind. Then at the end it says Agnenaya Supataraye Asman, right? Take me to the right path. That is a prayer at the end of Īśāvāsya Upanishad. And look at the prayer at the end. Agnenaya Supataraye Asman Vishwani Deva Vayunani Vidvani. You know the paths. Oh Deva, the Lord, you know the paths. I don't seem to know the paths. Then and everything the experiences we have had, the desires and other things are crooked. I can't understand how this Maya, the power of the bondage, takes over. It seems to be crooked. Bhuvishtam te namauktim vidhema, at the end of the Īśāvāsya Upanishad, it says, we profusely pray to you. We shower our obeisances. We fall at your feet. Namauktim vidhema. Nama means we bow down. So the thing is, that's very clear in the last verse of the Upanishad. That is the first Upanishad, the Īśāvāsya Upanishad. So the question is, if it is difficult to appease this one universal Lord, are there minor lords, subordinate lords who can get our job done? That is in the mind of the student. Or are the duties given in the Brahmana portion intended to appease these minor lords, the minor deities? So, does our prayer at the end of the Īśāvāsya Upanishad, there is a prayer, obviously, please protect me. Is that the prayer directly hearable by that Lord himself, or does he use other subordinates to take care of us? So these questions are not very clear, right? So that is why the Kena Upaniṣad, the very first verse is Om Kenēṣitam patati preshitam manaha Kena Prāṇa pratamam praitiyuktaha Kenēṣitam vācam imam vadanti chakshushotraha ka udevo yunakti. What does it mean? Desired by whom does the mind act efficiently? Desired by whom the first vital energy, prāṇa, moves efficiently after being controlled. Even when a child is born, the first breath comes and the child starts breathing. By whom is this happening? Further, by whom do people offer the speech? As taught to me in the 18th verse of Īśāvāsya Upanishad. Look at how he connects. He says, look, why is the student interested suddenly in speech? The speech is, first, there is a mind and the prāṇa. The prāṇa is the breath. And immediately he talks about the speech. Kenēṣitam vācam imam vadanti. Why? Because in the 18th verse, the student or the aspirant was offering, praising, and begging for protection and also guidance from the divine one Ishvara. So the thing is, look, are my words working properly? How should my speech be? Who is controlling my speech? Hope my speech is accurate, the way I'm pleasing the Lord, I'm asking the Lord. So the thing is, now the student is interested to know who is controlling all these different organs. Which, look at how the words are chosen. Chakshuhu Shotram Kau Devo Yunakti. Here, he is not asking us who is controlling the eyes and ears. He's asking who unites them. There's a meaning behind it. What does it mean? See, obviously, Upāsanā was taught. The thing is, a person should get away from the external physical world and focus on something that is the Ishvara. So the Upāsanā was taught somewhat in the Īśāvāsya Upanishad. We will go into depths of Īśāvāsya Upanishad when we study next the Īśāvāsya Upanishad study. I reversed it, made a mistake, could not change it now. We have to finish Kena Upaniṣad completely by other systems also, like Madhva Bhasha and all. We'll get back to Īśāvāsya Upanishad. So definitely there is a mention of Upāsanā or meditation in the Īśāvāsya Upanishad. So is there a subordinate Lord, the deity, who can help me make my mind powerful for meditation? That is in the mind of the student. Student is already studying the Vedas, right? Veda Adhyayana and all he is doing. So to succeed in Upāsanā or meditation, the mind has to be controlled. To control the mind, prāṇa must be controlled. Why is this? To control the mind, you need to control the breath. Let's think about this. So who is in charge of the prana? Or there is a powerful energy within us known as prana. We'll come to what prana is in a few minutes. So there is something called prana. And who is in charge of this prana? This is the second aspect of the question. Then control of mind begins with the breath of pranayama. This is indicated even in the Upanishad. We'll come to the Upanishad shortly. So the student who has studied the when loosely all students of Vedas would have entirely studied the Vedadhyayana. What does Vedadhyayana mean? Obviously, they would have studied some Sanskrit. Vedadhyayana means they have to, the master gives a sentence to the student. Om Agnimi Ele Purohitam. He says. The student has to repeat it. Om Agnimi Ele Purohitam 3 times or something like that. He has to memorize, think. So all these things have already happened. So while studying the Vedas, Upanishads also are part of the Vedas, everything would have been fundamentally understood by the student, in the sense that he knows how to repeat it properly with the right intonation. He might know the meanings superficially, here and there. So the whole gamut of the Vedic knowledge, by the time he has finished the Adhyayana, or repetition and chanting, he would have known what belongs where. So he somewhere there is a connection between prana and mind control. Controlling the mind requires controlling the prana or the vital energy. So the prana has to stop somewhere. The prana has to be controlled. Then the mind will not go hither and thither. Where do you see this? It is right in the Upanishad. In the Chandogya Upanishad 6.8.2, it says, Yatha Shakunihi Sutrena Prabadho Disham Patitva Anyatra Ayatanam Alabdhva Bandhanameva Upashrayate Evameva Khalu Somya Tan Mano Disham Patitva Anyatra Ayatanam Alabdhva Pranameva Upashrayate Pranabandhanam hi Somya Manaha iti. What does it mean? It's a wonderful analogy. Yatha Shakunihi means a bird. If a bird is tied to a thread, or a rope is too powerful, so you just say thread. And it is thread, the bird tries to go hither and thither in all directions. But there it cannot stay because it's tied to the thread. So it comes back to where it is tied, bandhanam, and sits right on the stick or something to which it is tied. It perches there. Evameva khalu somya. Similarly, the manas or mind, apparently we don't see the thread connecting the mind, right? But the mind can go anywhere. But when we sleep, the mind sleeps also. What is this? It actually gets controlled by the prana, which is in our body. This prana is in action even when we sleep, right? What the Upanishadic seers, that rishis have already understood, is mind can go all over the place, but it has to come down and merge into the prana. So if you control the prana, the mind can be controlled. Otherwise, mind keeps on shifting, gets distractions. Mind is subject to distractions all the time, and which we see it in our life. And when mind is distracted, you cannot focus. When you cannot focus, you cannot see something beyond our physical world. So you have to pierce through this physical world to get to know what this superpower is, that is Ishvara is. So that is why, right long time back, Rishi Patanjali said, you need to do pranayama. Pranayama is control of breath. And he said there are 8 steps known as Aṣṭāṅga Yoga, to control your prana. Yama, niyama, asana, prāṇāyāma, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samādhi. So yama, niyamas are basic exercises, rules and regulations of life, but like not stealing and things like that, doing a regular, right type of eating, and avoiding bad habits. Then asana is sitting in the right posture, or even controlling the body properly. Prāṇāyāma is control of breath. Pratyahara is taking away the mind from mind out of the external world or physical world, disconnecting from the physical world. Dharana means focusing on an object. Dhyana is meditation, and samādhi is absorption. Samādhi is becoming one in some ways. So these steps were indicated by in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Do you know that even the Western science, they come up, before you become so angry and take actions based on your anger, they say, take a deep breath, it says. Just by taking a deep breath once or twice, it really doesn't help, because immediately you may feel okay for a few minutes and you may rethink your anger or whatever actions you want to take, but it may not work. So serious study, serious practice have to be done in pranayama. Pranayama is not a simple physical exercise. How can you control mind? This is not easy. And our rishis thought about it a long time back. How long time back? The Patanjali Yoga Sutras were written sometimes between 2nd century to 5th century before the Common Era. It is minus 200, minus to minus 500, right? That was prior to the several other religions, major religions of the world. Probably around Buddha's time of Buddha and Mahavira, right? Chandogya Upanishad, according to modern dating, they say it was sometime compiled or composed in sometime 6th century BCE to 8th century BCE. That is prior to the time of Buddha. Buddha himself was influenced by yoga. Okay, maybe Yoga Sutras were written a little bit after Buddha, time of Buddha, or around the time of Buddha. We don't know. See, our history is really messed up. We don't have exact dates, right? So before you think about modern scientific thought of something like that, like take a deep breath and all, these were mastered long time back by these yogic rishis. And the Upanishad, Chandogya mentions it. Where in Chandogya does it mention? One second. So we already said that Chandogya mentions it. Chandogya, I told you the analogy of the bird tied to a base. It has to come back to the base. And prana bandhanam hi somya manaha. So thing is, controlling prana will make your mind controlled. This you have to experience by practice. Only when you practice yoga, practice pranayama, you will understand that there is a way to control mind. Okay. Any doubts so far? Comments? Are we learning something new here? Are you hearing me? Can you hear me?
Yeah, there is a connect between controlling the mind and yoga and our Upanishads. So there is a big connect, which I can see through whatever you told us.
Okay. Anybody comments?
One more thing. I mean, there are a lot of prayers to this Pratyaksha Devata, but actually it goes up to the Antaryamin, right? Even when the prayer is to Agni, it is actually to that Pushan who was mentioned few shlokas earlier.
Definitely, in the Īśāvāsya Upanishad, everything goes directly to the Ishvara himself, the one Lord. Definitely. See, the question comes up. See, no wonder the Īśāvāsya Upanishad makes Ishvara as the center, right? The Kena starts with the idea that does he have any subordinates I have to please? Think about from a very normal perspective, right? I cannot directly meet Modi or Trump or the head of the entire state, entire country. Do I have to go to local governments first and then figure out and get something? Obviously, I can't go directly talk to the Modi and say, can I get a visa or something like that? You have to go through a local department. So the aspirant is thinking that there is a way to understand that should I go through some other lords? That's all.
I have a word to say.
See, yeah.
I have something to say. Can I?
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Can you hear me?
That is when you talked about prana and mind, I think I want to tell this thing that prana is connected with mind always. Either you control prana or you control your mind. The other one comes to your control. If you control mind, prana comes to your control. If you control your prana, mind comes under your control. This is the fact.
Okay. Good. Right. So
Yeah,
we'll continue.
Actually, it is
Go
like this. The breath is the only thing, like it is involuntary action and it's a voluntary action.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
that's why it is in the middle, and then we are able to use it. The rest of them are all, like all the other indriyas, they are all voluntarily controlled. Like we can close our eyes, open your eyes, you can listen, not to listen. Prana is the only thing which is a voluntary action and then involuntary action. So that is why we are able to control it. And then mind and then all the other stuff is mostly are involuntary actions. Like, we cannot control. So that is the connection.
See, how do you control the sounds? See, suppose there is a big this happens all the time. Now it is 7:40 here, right? On every day at 9 o'clock, I'm near a school. They blow the drums and trumpets and things like that. I cannot focus on anything. How do you disconnect from your ears? You cannot close the ears. Closing ears doesn't work very well, right?
True. Yeah.
Yeah. So ears are also, somewhere you need to disconnect your mind from your ears. See, ears cannot be closed. Even if you close the ears, the vibration, if I have a huge a party going on next door with the drums and things like that, it will, even the walls will shake. As you know, some people put a stereo in their cars into full speed and full volume, and the doors and the sides of the car shake, right?
Yeah.
You can see it on the highway or on the road. So the vibration is still there.
Yeah.
So the vibration cannot be controlled. External sounds and vibrations cannot be controlled. The only way you can do is your mind can disconnect from the vibrations. This is the hard part. Right?
Yeah.
Hard part. In fact, this is a wonderful point you brought, because in the yoga, it says somebody, if they go to samādhi, truly, bheri thadana. At the olden times, they didn't have a huge loudspeaker or something. They had bheri. Bheri is a huge drum. And if you beat it, you can hear the drums miles away. And that was the signal for starting or stopping a war or something like that at that time, right? So even the sounds of that huge drum could be disconnected from your mind. A person in samadhi doesn't hear that. That is
that is the point I want to tell. But that is, even in a market, you should be able to do meditation. That means you withdraw everything within yourself, so you don't hear anything that goes around you. That's why mind is always connected with the prana. If you control prana, mind comes under control. Or if you control mind, prana will come to your control. Even in a busy cities, you should be able to sit and meditate. Means irrespective of whatever the sound, it doesn't affect you. If you go to that stage, I'm not telling in the preliminary steps.
I will leave this exercise of control of mind to each of you. You figure out whether your mind is.
Can I ask you a question, please? Is it when we meditate and we come to that state, a state where you can be there sitting, but you can go elsewhere and come back to your body? According to Yoga Sutra.
Possible. That is out of body experience, right? Out of body. See, what you're talking is out of body experience.
When you're in complete sadhana, complete meditation, can it happen?
Many people say, as I'm not going to go deep into this or something, it's not like a diversion or something, but many yoga people say that they would have out of body experiences. So that is possible. And whether it is supported in the Yoga Sutras or Patanjali or something, I have to look into it, and that is a separate research we have to do. But many yogis do say that they had out of body experiences while doing yoga.
There is something like this, this, right? During the yogic stages. I think maybe it is referred there.
What did you say? What did you say?
No, during the practice of yoga, even in the Gita also, during the dhyana stage, they say that there are some siddhis that happen to a yogi.
Yes, yeah, that's true. That is a separate issue. That is covered very well in the Yoga Sutras also.
There was one Tembe Swami Maharaj in Gujarat, in India, and my grandfather attested. There was one Tembe Swami Maharaj in Gujarat, and my grandfather attested to that a few years back to me. He told that he used to be present at 2 to 3 sites at once because he himself had seen him in his native, and at the same time he was also available in the other place in Gujarat, where it's in Garudeshwar. That is the place in Gujarat, and he had that siddhi to be present at 2 places at once.
See this one, even the SRF Guru Paramahamsa Yogananda mentions in his own autobiography of Yogi that he saw his Guru, some particular Panchanan, I think his name is Panchanan Maharaj or something. He sees him in 2 different places at the same time. So I think this is possible. I don't know who can do it. Personally, I have not seen such people. I don't know really. But definitely, the SRF book, Autobiography of Yogi, mentions this. And if anyone has not read that book, please read it. Read that book. It is an interesting book.
There are many examples in that book about different yogis.
True.
With different siddhis.
Yes. Yeah. It's a nice book. Extremely well written. Yeah. Okay, then we'll get back to the work now, right? We'll get back to the class. Where is that? Share. Okay. So long time back, the rishis knew that control of mind can be achieved by control of prana. Knowing all, a student wants to know how is there a deity which can control prana, so that that person can focus on God and can meditate. So Upāsanā is the path. So what is prana? Prana is not just the breathing. The breathing is just one portion of it, but it is the vital energy which keeps us alive and gets connected to our brain. So when we control prana, our heartbeat slows and the lungs rest. And these are all possible only when you learn under a skilled teacher how to do all these things. Control of prana is definitely hard work, and only some people know it well. So prana is beyond understanding, right? It's how does prana work automatically? We don't know how that is, right? Is this only a physical energy, right? A physical energy cannot move on its own. So it has to be something different from matter. So in Vedanta, we talk about mind and matter. So in science, we focus more on matter. Sometimes we focus on mind, but it's not that clear. In Vedanta, we talk about mind and matter constantly. And in fact, mind is a part of matter in Vedanta, right? And mind is not conscious. If mind is not conscious, what is conscious? So to understand prana, think about prana, even in the very beginning, you should think about prana as a compound, like a chemical compound of matter and consciousness. This is the hard thing to understand. Scientifically, there is no chemical compound which can be made out of a sentient thing and an insentient thing. But if at all such a compound exists, where a conscious sentient entity can mix up with physical matter and create a bond and be together all the time, that is prana. Okay, that's one way of understanding. By the way, these are all ideas given by my grandfather in his book. Okay, so we call Atman as self, which is the conscious principle. Right? When people die, both Atman and prana, along with his 4 associates, leave the body. So there are 5 prāṇas. Prana is a general name given to all the 5, but there are 5 of it. The mukhya prana is the main thing which is responsible for breathing. So Atman is also another entity which is pure consciousness. It's called the Swarupa Jnana. The Jivatma is separate, which is Swarupa Jnana. By the way, what my grandfather is doing here is he's trying to give some fundamental knowledge of a different way of thinking, not the Shankaracharya way of thinking that Jivatma is not even there. It is just a combination of other, other entities, and you assume that Jivatma is there. When you look back, when you look deeper, the Jivatma is not even there. It is only Atman, the one Nirguna Brahman. That view, is not accepted. And then what my grandfather is trying to do is giving you information about no. There are sentient entities who are multiple. There are many Jivatmas. All of us are separate conscious entities. And we have the mind and other things as associates. And prana also is connected to us. But the knowing self, the jnata, the knowing self and feeling self is separate from mind. And it is constant in the sense that it doesn't die. It is imperishable. So there are multiple imperishable entities. That's what he is driving at. And what is this prana? The prana is the main aspect. And I am only taking the Upanishadic view of prana. When you go into, there are other sciences like Ayurveda or Ayurveda is one. Upanishad and yoga itself. Yoga treats prana in some ways, right? I'm just taking the Upanishadic aspect of prana right now. And how does the Upanishad deal with prana? So prana is a supreme life force that sustains all vital functions. Brihadaranyaka refers to prana as the chief, because if prana leaves, all other indriyas or all other senses give up. They leave. So the prana is known as the king among, and others are subjects. So that is what prana is about. That's a concept of prana, right? Apāna, there are 4 other apāna, vyāna, samāna, udāna are there. So in Brihadaranyaka and Prashna, apāna is a downward moving force for excretion, elimination, and things like that. And also it connects you to the earth element. That means the apāna withdraws the soul back. See, in the next few slides, we'll come to a sloka called Urdhvam Prāṇam Unnayati Apānam Pratyagasyati. He says, what does the prana moves this consciousness up and the apāna moves it down, holds back to the earth, to physical existence. What does it mean? The pure Jivatma's nature is to gravitate towards Paramatma, because pure Jivatma cannot be contained in physical entities. It is naturally a part of Paramatma. So it goes towards Atman. So it's constantly struggling to get out to seek Paramatma because it's consciousness. But the other forces hold back, like apāna. In Chandogya Upanishad, vyāna is portrayed as connected force that pervades the entire body, and it maintains the balance between prāṇa and apāna, distributing energy throughout the body, and it also helps us withstand physical stress and challenges. Right? And the udāna is upward movement. It is helpful for spiritual elevation. It seems that udāna is the one which guides the soul, the jivatma, after death to its appropriate realm according to one's karma. So according to one's karma, the udāna knows how to push the jivatma into another body or some other place. And in life, within the life, udāna helps us to achieve higher states of pure mind, and helps during meditation and samādhi. Apparently, this is what the Upanishad says. And the samāna is equalizing, balancing force centered at the navel, in the middle, and it is responsible for digestion of food and also experiences and impressions, just not food. Experiences and impressions we sort of understand and put together. It transforms gross elements into subtle energies that can be utilized by the body and mind. And that is the samāna. So Upanishads collectively emphasize that understanding and mastering these 5 prāṇas are essential for spiritual realization, and ultimately it will help you transcend the life of the cycle of births and deaths. That's very important. So Atman is connected to life, right? We realize we are in this body all the time. It's connected to body. So, but obviously it does not have full control over physical energy. Atman is trying to be free. It struggles, and that struggle shows up as our breathing constantly. We need to control this prāṇa. Urdhvam prāṇam unnayati apānam pratyagasyati. Madhye vāmanamasinam vishve deva upāsate. So the thing is, there is a struggle between prāṇa and apāna. Inside, in the middle is vāmana. There is a Ishvara sitting inside, and people meditate on this Ishvara. So Atman has to be seen that it is self-aware and intelligent, right? See here, my grandfather goes, he says, use your knowledge of Gita, use your knowledge of other Upanishads to sort of assimilate and connect all the information here. That's his strategy, right? Atman has Sarupa Jnana, that is its individual consciousness, and it is made of consciousness. It also understands things around it through the senses. But its limitation is there because can be overpowered by physical energy. So that's why we are in this body, and we are somehow contained and controlled in this body. Why are we understanding all these in detail? Students wants to know how to control prāṇa, to do meditation, and is there a deity which can help him or her? So if there is a deity, we have to pray to this deity, and our prayers have to be appealing to pray to this deity. So how do we make this the prayers appealing? Can the speech, because speech is required to pray, and can speech be speech has to be truth. There should be one thing in our mind, speech and actions. Can any deity help me in this? So who is behind the senses, and especially our eyes and ears? Why are the eyes and ears are important? 80% of the knowledge comes through eyes. The rest comes through ears and other senses. So eyes see the rupa, are forms. Nama is names are heard through the ears. So Nama Rupa is the whole universe is made of entities with name and form. So we need to know how this name and form work together. That is, sight and hearing work together. Yunakti, Chakshusrotam, Kau Devo Yunakti. What merges this information coming from ears and eyes? Is there a deity which controls all this? Maybe should I pray to that person? Who is that? Our eyes and ears educate us as we live and get impressions from sound and sight. And obviously, the mind is putting everything together. But why is that we are not able to see the God? Through all our wonderful senses, we are unable to see God. So the idea of God seems to be beyond our sensory knowledge and physical knowledge. Something is divine. This God is divine. And how do we know God? Do we have some divine methods to go, divine instruments or methods to know God? But in the first Upanishad, it's very clearly said that Ishvara is Antaryami, divine indwelling presence. He is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. And he is also reliable because he hears, he is benevolent. That is established in the Īśāvāsya Upanishad. And also the need for spiritual Upāsanā and knowledge, Jnana and Upāsanā and Karma are explained. But it's not put together completely for the student. And divine experience is personal and cannot be expressed in the physical experiences we have. There is something else we need, that is divine grace is needed. And that is also indicated in the Īśāvāsya Upanishad. We'll study it in detail. But we have this fundamental problem. The Upanishads in different places say, Yato vacho nibaddante aprāpya manasa saha. At one point, it says that God is beyond mind. The speech also cannot reach that God. And it is beyond mind, speech and mind. So these are not the tools you need. These tools are insufficient, and they are unable to get you the realization of God or Ishvara. But exactly opposing statements also there. Manasaivedam aptavyam. Only through mind can you achieve that Parabrahman, that Brahman. So there is a contradiction in the Upanishad itself. So that makes it tougher for the student to understand. Mind is required, mind is not required. What is really happening? Mind can do it, but mind cannot do it. What is really happening? So with this, I stop today's lecture as to, because where we are going. These are all introductory to put things together. Any comments on my grandfather's approach? Is that helpful or not?
It is definitely. I feel so.
It is really helpful.
It's been helpful for me so far. And at certain points, he repeats things, but you need to start going deeper and deeper, because my grandfather was not just a teacher or an academic person. He was also a professor and a principal at a Vedanta Sanskrit college called Siddhaganga Institute. Apparently in Siddhaganga Institute, there were so many other professors. I know some names of some professors there, right? But my grandfather was a practitioner. So he worked in the forest office, and he practiced meditation for more than 4 or 5 decades for sure. So he gives a lot of practical anubhava related information to the extent he can.
It is very insightful. Your grandfather's part of it is really great knowledge to be shared to everybody.
See, we will go deeper in the next few classes to see how. Tomorrow is another class, by the way. Tomorrow we start at the same time, 7 to 8 roughly. We will continue with this concept, because that's why, it's also fresh in your mind now, right? We studied so far. We came only to the very introductory aspect of the Kena Upaniṣad. But now let us see how he develops it further and takes it. Okay. Any other questions before we stop? Today, I think it's a short class, but it's,
Yeah.
I guess, unless you, yeah.
Actually, we see the separation, people who talk about yoga, pranayama, and all those things, they just stop at some point. And then there is another group of people who talk about Upanishad and all those things. They talk separately about Paramatma, how he is there, how he is a Jagat Karanam and all those things. Only few people connected. I think your grandfather is one of them, I guess. That connection is there, that connection needs to be there. Without that connection, we have the tools separately, and then, the higher purpose separately. So only when we combine these two things, it becomes practical and then useful. Yeah.
Definitely. I will, Ilangoji, you brought out a very important point, and I want to give a slightly different version so that the other people here, particularly the Sri Vaishnavas, can understand it properly. In the Sri Vaishnava tradition, there are two important groups, two important study. In fact, they call it as Ubhaya Vedanta. It's not very common in the Smarta tradition. Koileji, Smarta tradition is slightly different, okay? But in the Sri Vaishnava tradition, there are two, each Sri Vaishnava should study both of them or understand both. What are these two? Vedanta, which involves the Prasthanatraya, that is Brahma Sutras, Upanishads, and Bhagavad Gita. That is Vedanta. And that same person should know very clearly the Nalayana Divya Prabandham Tiruvalmozhi, that is the amazing experiences of Alvars expressed in Tamil hymns. They have to understand the depth of the Tamil hymns, which is actually the experience of these Alvars. And that is very vivid and very powerful. Right now, there are 4,000 plus hymns there, and each experienced person, Alvars, expresses so wonderfully, right? So they both have to be well learned, well understood by any Sri Vaishnava. That is enough. And in fact, a person who understands both are given the title Ubhaya Vedanti, Uve. You see, many people put this initial like senior, junior kind of thing. In the initial itself, they say Uve, Ubhaya Vedanti. Yeah. And the issue is there is a third important aspect, yoga. A Ubhaya Vedanti becomes powerful only when the yoga and practice is combined. And knowledge of yoga permeating through the Vedanta and the words of the Alvars, that yoga common.
That means to say, Ubhaya Vedanta, Upanishad study makes the theoretical, and this Nalayanam, the Divya Prabandham, it becomes the practical of Upanishads. Ubhaya Vedanta.
No, 1 second.
No, all Alvars.
See, no, 1 second. Let me clarify this. See, Vedanta is also text. Nalayana Divya Prabandham is also text. But Nalayana Divya Prabandham gives the experiences of the Alvars, right?
That is practical. Vedanta, that's what I said. That's what I said. Practical knowledge. Alvars.
The practical is the yoga. See, how should we understand it? We have to do yoga to understand a lot, right? And that is the tough part. Because not many people, Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanamanman Prapadyate in Bhagavad Gita, after so many births, a person will get jnana, jnanavan bhutva. That is, he gets jnana over so many janmas, so many lives, and then he surrenders. That is what it said. So the thing is, the practical aspect of is the tough part, and that is in the yoga, covered in the yoga, right? Both are theoretical in a way. That is, even the words of the Alvars experienced practically. But that doesn't mean that by repeating what Namaivar said, I will experience what Namaivar experienced. Is that possible? Only thing is, you will hear and understand his experiences in a very wonderful way, because that is presented so beautifully in connected verses known as Andadis. The first letter of the last the last letter of the first verse would be the first letter of the next verse. So it's a connectivity like a garland. They have done it actually, right? Anyway,
Just
coming
out of
back,
curiosity, one question, just out of curiosity, just because your grandfather was also doing meditation for a long time, I had a question whether he also commented about para pashyanti madhyama and vaikhari somewhere, or whether he discussed about it.
he might have. I will talk to you about it because at least this Parapashanti Vaikari issues were taught very well by another yogi called Rangamahaguru in his books. Here and there, I have some information about it. I'll let you know when I find it.
Sure, sure. Thank you.
I'm just typing something. Anyway, hope, are there any questions before we stop? Yeah. Probably not. Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Parama Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Sarva Gurubhyo Namaha, Shri Krishna Parabrahmane Namaha, Shri Lakshmi Narasimha Parabrahmane Namaha, Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu.
Namaskaram.
Namaskaram.